Setting the scene, Duse's blush. The classroom, where actors train, appears unremarkable at first glance, with plain furnishings such as folding chairs, a large grey desk, and a blackboard. However, certain objects within the room, such as two sturdy, grey-painted beds, a console television without insides, and empty whiskey bottles, add a surreal touch. This setting, in the Neighbourhood Playhouse School of the Theatre in New York City, is where Sanford Meisner taught acting for decades. His students, numbering in the thousands, include successful actors who often return to him for further growth in their craft. Meisner's teaching career spanned over 50 years. His approach, deeply influential, was aimed at teaching actors to achieve genuine emotion and authenticity on stage. David Mamet, a playwright and former student, acknowledged Meisner's teaching as grounded in truth, offering something tangible and practical, which was rare for actors of his generation. Meisner was born in Brooklyn in 1905 to Hungarian Jewish immigrants. His early life was shaped by the death of his younger brother, which left a lasting emotional scar and influenced his isolation during childhood. His parents, though good people, blamed themselves and, in some way, him for his brother's death. This guilt, combined with Meisner's retreat into fantasy, shaped his outlook on life and his emotional sensitivity, elements crucial to his future work in acting. As a child, Meisner expressed a desire to become an actor, which eventually led him to pursue theatre despite his father's wishes for him to enter the clothing business. He initially followed his father's guidance, briefly working as a stock boy, but soon found his way to the Theatre Guild, where he began his acting career. He worked as an extra and observed experienced actors, developing his passion for truthful acting. Meisner received a scholarship to study acting at the Theatre Guild School, where he found the training mediocre, but nonetheless formative in shaping his path. It was through connections at the Guild that Meisner was introduced to Harold Clurman and Leestrasberg, two significant figures in American theatre. Their influence was critical to his development, as they shared Meisner's belief in the importance of emotional truth in acting. Strasberg, particularly, had a profound impact on Meisner, exposing him to quality acting and artistic expression. Together, they attended performances by artists like the Russian singer Chelyapin, who epitomized deep emotional truth combined with theatrical form, reinforcing Meisner's ideals about performance. In 1931, Meisner joined Strasberg, Clurman, and Cheryl Crawford in founding the group theatre, an ensemble dedicated to a revolutionary approach to American acting. Meisner, just 25 at the time, was a founding member. The group theatre was greatly influenced by Konstantin Stanislavski's system, which focused on achieving genuine emotional experiences on stage. Stanislavski's teachings came to the group theatre through Richard Boleslavski and Maria Ouspenskaya, two actors from the Moscow Art Theatre, who had emigrated to the US and trained many of the group's members. Stanislavski's method transformed American acting, bringing a focus on real, deeply felt emotion. Leestrasberg, the group's chief director in its early years, was especially focused on the pursuit of emotional truth, refusing to tolerate artificial substitutes. His dedication to this cause was reflected in his rigorous work with actors, pushing them to connect with real emotions and ensuring these emotions were fully integrated into their performances. In 1934, Stella Adler, another group member, went to Paris to study with Stanislavski himself. Her work with him clarified many aspects of the system that had caused confusion within the group theatre, helping to further solidify their commitment to this technique. Meisner's participation in the group theatre was essential in shaping his views on acting. Without the group, he claimed, he might have ended up in the fur business like his father. Instead, he became a key figure in the development of a new style of American acting, one that prioritized emotional honesty and practical techniques that actors could use to create compelling, real performances. The group theatre's ensemble acting became legendary, and their work inspired future generations of actors and playwrights. In the summer following her study with Stanislavski, Adler presented findings that marked a significant departure from Leestrasberg's emphasis on effective memory. Effective memory involves an actor consciously recalling emotional experiences from their real life to recreate similar emotions on stage. Adler reported that Stanislavski had moved away from this approach, focusing instead on understanding the given circumstances or the problems within the play itself to evoke genuine emotion. This shift was pivotal and ultimately diminished Strasberg's influence in the group theatre, leading to his resignation in 1935. Meisner aligned himself with Adler on this issue, rejecting effective memory in favor of a more practical approach, which became central to his own acting technique. When asked how he was introduced to the Stanislavski system, Meisner cited his experiences with the group theatre under the leadership of Harold Clurman and Leestrasberg, his studies with Stellaadler, and the insights he gained from actors like Michael Chekhov. He also credited the work of Russian theorists Ilya Sudakov and I. Rappaport, whose writings highlighted the importance of the reality of doing, a foundational concept in Meisner's acting system. In 1936, Meisner appeared in the group theatre's production of Johnny Johnson, which marked a turning point in his career. The program for the play included a biographical note about Meisner that was notable for two reasons. It provided insight into his growing confidence as an actor and hinted at his burgeoning career as a teacher. Although he began as a spear carrier in various productions, Meisner had recently gained critical acclaim for his performances in Clifford Odets plays, including Awake and Sing and Paradise Lost. His role as Julie, the young son afflicted with sleeping sickness in Paradise Lost, was considered his finest to date. Meisner's transition from actor to teacher was gradual but decisive. He began teaching acting at the Neighbourhood Playhouse, and by 1962, he was appointed to direct the acting department at the American Musical Theatre Academy. 2 years later, he returned to the Neighbourhood Playhouse, where he would remain for decades, dedicating himself to teaching a new generation of actors. Teaching gave Meisner the same sense of fulfillment that music had once provided in his youth. He often said, "The only time I am free and enjoying myself is when I'm teaching." For Meisner, teaching was an emotional release and a way to continue exploring the craft of acting. Despite suffering physical challenges in his later years, including multiple surgeries for cancer and a serious accident that left him with mobility issues, Meisner continued to teach. His dedication to the art of acting and teaching remained unwavering. He drew inspiration from figures like the French painter Raoul Dufy, who continued to paint despite severe arthritis by having his brush taped to his hand. Similarly, Meisner overcame his own physical limitations, using a microphone and loudspeaker to continue instructing his students. In his teaching, Meisner often referenced the story of the legendary actress Eleonora Duse, particularly a scene from Magda where Duse's character, after receiving flowers from a former lover, is overcome with embarrassment and begins to blush. For Meisner, this moment exemplified living truthfully under imaginary circumstances, a concept central to his definition of good acting. He regarded Duse's blush as the epitome of genuine, spontaneous emotional expression on stage, a feat that he considered to be the essence of great acting. Meisner's ability to continue teaching despite his physical limitations, combined with his profound understanding of acting, helped him maintain an extraordinary life in the theatre. His passion for the craft and his commitment to teaching left a lasting legacy, shaping countless actors, and ensuring that his influence on the world of acting would endure.